Another thing we can do is adjust the visibility settings and change them on what is displayed. So the Revit doesn't really have layers. What it has is like different categories for model kind of elements. And to get to those, we can adjust them by view. So if you click on a view and you look over here within the properties panel, this is where you'll be adjusting all your visibilities and graphics. So right now I'm going to show you how to change an individual view, and then I'm going to show you how to take that to another view, and then I'll show you what a view template can do, and then how to create those and how to change a view template once you've got it applied to a view. So the visibility graphics and then the graphic display options, these work together. So let me move this over so you can kind of see these. So right now Revit is just showing this however I want it to, and that's what I'm seeing. So I haven't really adjusted any of this. But if I wanted this to display a little bit cleaner so that I can read it a little bit better, we could even go to the ground floor where we have some more detail here. Let's say this is hard to read at first glance and I can't really tell kind of like what's going on. I can obviously go into the view and modify stuff, but let's say, I don't know, there's like the wood floor and I want to actually see like the walls solid so that they pop out, or if you wanted to show shadows or not. How do we do that? So if you go into, so let me deactivate the view to show you, you don't have to actually be in the view. You can do this from the sheet or you can do it from the actual view, and it works exactly the same. So if I go, let me show you from ground. So here's my ground view, right? So now I'm back on the view, not on the sheet. If you adjust your visibility graphics by going over here and you hit edit, it brings you this menu. Alternatively, if you don't want to click that, you can always type in VV, that's the shortcut. So V twice, and it's also VG. So VG gives you visibility and graphics. I always use VV because your finger's already on the V. So you just mash it twice and it will pop up VV. So that one you use all the time. So in this you have different categories. So the first one is model categories, then you have annotation categories, then analytical model, and then imported, and then filters. So what's important with this is, think about, because some people get lost in this menu, what is it that you're trying to change? So this, if you're changing it here, this is going to apply globally to everything in this view, and it's by view. That's the thing a lot of people get mistaken on. They think, oh, if I do this, it's going to change everywhere, but this is view specific. So if I set something up and then you put here like a category to it, you can turn stuff on and off, but you go to another view, it's not going to be the same settings that you just changed. You'd have to redo all those settings. So if I want my walls to look solid, you first of all think about, is it a model category or annotation? So annotations would be like dimensions, or if you want to look at these like tags, callouts, like labels, all sorts of stuff that you add on top of it, door tags, that would be under that category. If it's been imported like from like CAD or something, it would live here. And so since that's a model category, we're going to look under the first category, and then I'm looking for walls, so it's all the way down, and then you've got walls, and then if you just leave it on the first section, you have walls. So this is going to apply to all walls, or you can open it up and then there's more specific settings you can do to change within it, where it's the common edges, hidden lines, or wall sweeps. For now I'm just going to leave it here. So the difference between a wall category and then like the subcategory, all these main categories, everyone has the same ones. Whether you modeled something that belongs in that category in this specific project or not, that category will exist, and you can't add it, you can't delete it. It's just, that's the category. So everyone has structural connections, everyone has structural foundations, whether you did it or not. And you can though add the subcategories, so those can be changed and you can add as many different ones as you want. But the main category is always going to be there. So here, if you look across now, so that's the first way you do it. You first look for the main category and then you come across. So what is it I'm trying to change? And what I'm trying to change is not the projection or the surface. I want to change the cut, because that's where my floor plan is cut. I want that to look solid black. So you have lines that you can change or patterns, and right now it's displaying just like that, just like a white. If I wanted that to read black, I would go to pattern, and here where it says override on walls, you click that and then it lets you see, do you want patterns visible, do you want a color, or do you want a pattern, and which one do you want. So you can click this one and go down to solid, and then we can say OK. And if we move this to the side, notice nothing changed, but if you hit apply, come on, there you go. So see, it actually did it. And now my floor plan looks like that, and I can actually clearly see where it's changed. The next thing I would want to do is, okay, now I lost my columns, I can't really see them. And notice how if you hover over, it's important to know what category everything belongs to before you change it, because sometimes you'll be like, oh man, I'm trying to change the setting, it's not changing. That's because that element doesn't belong to the category that you're overriding. So by default, every single element has a way it's going to display, and if you don't like it, you have to override it on that view. Does that make sense? And to do that, you go back to your visibility graphics. So first step is, okay, it's a structural column and it says dimensional lumber, so I'm going to go to my VV and find structural column here, and I'm going to go to patterns, override, and then I'm going to make this one solid and hit OK. And I've accepted it, but nothing happened. And so sometimes elements have different properties dependent on how the detail is set. So remember this first option, so you have the scale of the drawing and then you have the detail level. When this one is set to coarse, it doesn't show fills at all. So you want to at least go to medium detail in order to see the fills on the column. So now I can actually clearly see that and clearly see there. And if you wanted to change how doors are displayed, let's say for whatever reason you wanted doors to look a different color, or a curtain wall to read a different color, or different pattern, you could do that. You can keep going by category and changing what they actually look like. So we've got that set up. Now let's say I want to see how that looks on the sheet. So what do you think it's going to look like on the sheet? It should look like this, right? Because the sheet is literally just taking this view and dropping it on the sheet, right? So this was the ground floor plan. Now let's go to the ground sheet, and there you go. It just looks like that. So it doesn't matter what you do as you're working. Oops, I think I just zoomed out. I hit my hand on the screen. So here you can see it looks just like the other one. So now let's say I want to go to the other sheet and look at this one. This one doesn't look like that. Doesn't have those overrides because I applied them to the other floor plan. So you could go back to the sheet, to the individual view, and do this by view and go, okay, I want to change this one to look like that one to look like this one. We could also go to the one that we already did. So this is what I recommend. You want to set up a view template to take care of all these settings rather than going to every single view and repeating stuff. If you ever find